and welcome back to Eurofootball Daily. In light of recent events, we're looking back at 10 Judas transfers. 10. Alexis Sanchez. The transfer window is always a troubling time for Arsenal fans. They've said goodbye to Ashley Cole, Cesc Fabregas and Samir Nasri, who all escaped the Emirates in search of silverware. And the most recent addition of the Arsenal alumni to play for their rivals is Alexis Sanchez, becoming the 11th player in the club's history to go to Manchester United. The Chilean forward moved to the Premier League from Barcelona in 2014. As a gunner, he managed 60 goals in 122 appearances and assisted his teammates 25 times in the league. Sanchez was voted Arsenal's Player of the Season in his first campaign in North London, and again in 2016-17. While he may have carried the team on the pitch, in the dressing room he was anything but supportive. A reported feud with Aaron Ramsey, storming out of training sessions and on-pitch arguments, Alexis made it clear he wasn't happy at the Emirates. After it looked nailed on that he'd be joining the league leaders Man City at the beginning of the window, turns out that only Mourinho's United had deep enough pockets to land the number 7, sending a teary-eyed Mkhitaryan the other way. Rumoured that the Chile international will earn up to £14 million a year in the deal, it still isn't clear where Alexis will fit into a team around Pogba, with attacking options of Lingard, Martial and Rashford. But Arsenal fans will be hoping the forward will join United's parked bus at right back. 9. Manuel Neuer. The best goalkeeper in the world has an impressive trophy cabinet, holding 5 Bundesliga trophies, a Champions League medal, and he got his hands on the World Cup with Germany. But if we rewind to 2011, the Bayern Munich fans were horrified by the €22 million signing of the stopper. Neuer had been Schalke through and through, having played in every age group at youth level and even stood on the Nordkurve terraces as a fan. But when he made the treacherous move south to join Bayern Munich, both sets of fans turned on the sweeper. Schalke called him a Judas, and one fan even slapped him across the face in the street. Meanwhile, Bayern supporters refused to accept the newcomer, with the ultras claiming that he would never be allowed to kiss the Bavarian crest. But Neuer proved his worth right from the off. Within his first weeks in Bavaria, the stopper beat Bayern's record of most consecutive clean sheets, manning the goal line for over 1,000 minutes without conceding. 8. Luis Enrique. Barcelona are well known for hiring their alumni, with a long list of players returning as managers, including Cruyff, Guardiola and current coach Valverde. Luis Enrique ticked this criteria as well, as his career path has echoed that of Guardiola, coaching Barcelona's B-side between 2008 and 2011. But what you may not know is that Enrique spent the majority of his early career with arch-rivals Real Madrid. He failed to stand out in Madrid's white and scored only 18 goals over 5 years at the club, where despite being a striker, he was constantly deployed out of position in defence. The Spaniard opted to switch allegiance and ran down his contract to join the Blaugrana, and the move to Barcelona proved a lot more fruitful. He went on to become a prolific goalscorer, netting 109 times in 300 appearances. From 1996 to 2004, he lifted the league title twice, won 2 Copa del Reys and the UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, and won a further 2 La Liga titles 10 years later as manager, firmly setting his stall with the Catalan club. 7. Luis Figo. Before 2000, players including Mark Schuster and Michael Laudrup had made the move from the Nou Camp to the Bernabeu pretty much unscathed. But someone who didn't manage to keep his treacherous transfer quiet was Luis Figo. For the previous 5 years, the Portuguese winger had controlled the Catalan side during a glittering spell that saw the team lift successive league titles, beating Real Madrid to the top by 11 points. Enter Florentino Perez, who set about his plan for the first dynasty of the Galacticos and raised Real Madrid to the top of La Liga. And Barcelona's best player was at the centre of Perez's vision. Despite the Catalan giants promising to fans that with all certainty in the world, Figo would stay at Barcelona, the 27-year-old was unveiled as Madrid's new number 10 for a record-breaking fee of €62 million in July 2000. Figo's career soared at the Bernabeu, where he won another league title and the Ballon d'Or during his first few months in Madrid. The bitterness from the Barcelona crowd, however, escalated. Hatred for the Portuguese star came to an unprecedented high when a fan famously threw a pig's head from the stands at the Camp Nou. 6. Kenny Miller. A rivalry that can match the intensity of El Clasico is Scotland's old firm derby. But Kenny Miller didn't seem to be fazed by the conflict between Rangers and Celtic, as he crossed between the rivals not once but twice, from Rangers to Celtic and then back to the Ibrox. Miller is one of only 5 modern-day players to have played for both Scottish sides, and with the 37-year-old still on Rangers' books, it seems the club have ignored his momentary slip over to the dark side. Having first joined Rangers in 2000, the striker made the traitorous move to Celtic in 2006. But his spell in the green and white half of Glasgow was nothing short of disappointing. In 2 campaigns, the striker scored just 7 goals. That's an average of 0.1 goal a game. In contrast, at Rangers, Miller had notched up an average of 0.6 goals a game. Probably why the Bears ignored his brief spell of infidelity. 5. Mo Johnston. We stay in Glasgow for number 5, but unlike Kenny Miller, Mo Johnston was only brave enough to cross the city's divide the one time. Before he headed to Ligue 1 side Nantes in 1987, Johnston had been a hero among Celtic fans, having scored over 50 goals from 1984 to 1987, winning the league title and the Scottish Cup. Following his stint in France, Johnston expected to return to Celtic Park, with a press conference declaring that Celtic are the only club I want to play for. But just like a lot of players shamed on this list, he didn't stay to his word, and in fact did the exact opposite, accepting a much more profitable deal with rivals Rangers. Pretty much the whole of Glasgow turned on the striker. Rangers fans burned scarves and threatened to hand in their season tickets over the new signing. Not only was Johnston ex-Celtic, but he was also the first Roman Catholic signing for a strictly Protestant club. However, he scored 46 goals in 100 matches for Rangers, winning 2 league titles and the Scottish Cup, forcing respect from the stands. 4. Nick Barmby. The rivalry between Everton and Liverpool is famously friendly, with the derby often striking through families across Merseyside. There have been more transfers between the clubs than between any other rivalry in football, but between 1959 and 2000, Liverpool refused to buy directly from their neighbour. It was Nick Barmby who ended this transfer freeze, as he crossed Stanley Park going from the Toffees to Liverpool in 2000 for £6 million, the highest fee ever paid to their rivals. Barmby went from batting relegation with Everton to winning the FA Cup, UEFA Cup and League Cup in his first year at Anfield. But in his second season he struggled to make an impression and ended up leaving for Leeds the following summer, proving not to be such a brilliant signing. With Liverpool only buying one player from Everton since, Abel Xavier in 2000, it's a business deal that the red half of Merseyside seemed to avoid. 3. Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell had written his name in Tottenham Hotspur's history books in 1999, when he became the first black captain to lift the League Cup for Spurs. After making nearly 300 appearances in Tottenham's white and telling Spurs Monthly magazine that he would never play for the Gunners, Campbell made the switch to North London rivals Arsenal in 2001 on a free transfer, claiming that he was in search of Champions League football. The ultimate Judas move saw Sol Campbell go from hero to public enemy number 1, as his move just 3.9 miles down the road sparked bitterness for the ex-captain that would last for years. 8 years after his move from Haringey to Highbury, the White Hart Lane faithful was still hailing the centre-back as a traitor, and a number of Spurs fans were banned from every ground in England and Wales for chanting homophobic abuse at Campbell. The Englishman had the last laugh though, as he became a pillar in Wenger's defence and a valuable member of Arsenal's Invincibles, as he went on to win 2 Premier League titles, while Spurs are still without a championship medal after 57 years. 2. Robin van Persie. A story that resonates as one of the biggest losses of all time for the Gunners. History may be repeating itself this season with the Alexis move, but the loss of Sanchez and his dogs will never be as great as that of RVP and his left foot. The Dutchman left the Emirates in a move that symbolised the weakening of the London club. The Arsenal captain and 8th top goal scorer of all time, with 132 goals in 278 games, Robin van Persie jumped ship to join Manchester United in 2012. Not only had they lost their captain and best player, but he joined bitter rivals Manchester United and went on to pretty much single-handedly win the Premier League with 26 goals and 15 assists in the 12-13 campaign. For a transfer fee of £22.5 million, RVP added a Premier League title and another golden boot to his collection. So while the move is still haunting Gooners, it probably was worth it for the man now residing in Feyenoord. 1. Ronaldo. The Brazilian Ronaldo, greatly admired for his dribbling, speed and clinical finishing, is one of the best players in the history of the game. But no one could look up to his loyalty, as he played for Barcelona, Real Madrid and both sides of the San Siro. In 1996-97 campaign, his only season at the Catalan club, Ronaldo scored 47 goals in 49 games in all competitions. But problems with his contract arose and Ronaldo headed to Inter, where he picked up the Ballon d'Or and was dubbed El Fenomeno by AC Milan defender Maldini. In 2002, he joined Zidane, Figo, Carlos and Beckham as part of the Real Madrid Galacticos for a record-breaking fee of €46 million. In his first season in the Spanish capital, he netted 23 times to beat his old employers and help win La Liga. To complete the set, Ronaldo headed back to Italy, signing for AC Milan, where he averaged a goal every other game for the Italians, despite being ravaged by injury. Maybe hatred for the striker isn't so strong, as he didn't move directly between rivals. Or maybe it's just because he was so good. We aren't sure, but we don't hold it against him. Thank you for watching. That was 10 players who betrayed their club. If I missed anyone out, let me know in the comments below. And if you like that, why don't you check out Zach and Mikey on Football Monday Out, where they tell you the best news stories from around the football world. And don't forget to like and subscribe.